like saying you lost, I'm assuming you're saying they're not lost permanently. You're correct.
Sign of David. That's a bit annoying. Yeah, please.
Okay. Well, firstly, thank you very much for all the assistance that you've given us and also the hospitality that you've shown to both of us over these last couple of days. It's been a very interesting process for me to sort of get back to some of my original roots in plant pathology and to have a look at some of the systems that you're operating here. But also to try and understand what's going on really. And certainly Colin's expertise has been valuable for me to understand those. The process that we've gone through has been an initial assessment against 17025, and through this auditing process we have come up with a number of findings against the standard, some of which we describe as mandatory findings, which means there are non-conformances with the standard which need to be addressed. And others are recommendations that we've made where we can see that there might be improvements that we can make to assist the way that the quality system is being operated. Okay, so although there's quite a lot of non-conformances raised, I don't want you to worry too much about the fact that there are a lot. It's quite usual at an initial assessment anyway to raise a few non-conformities, and all the ones that we have raised are actually quite a minor nature, so please don't worry about the numbers. I think, just so that you know the numbers, there's approximately 36 that we've raised with well, we intend to group some of those together because they're quite similar in nature. Okay, from my point of view, the quality system that, as you've developed it now, is very advanced in the sense that it's very easy to access on the website, and all documentation is there, and you can interrogate the reports very easily. So I think David certainly is to be commended for helping you through that process, but also everybody else obviously who's been involved with the writing of procedures and the commitment shown to sort of addressing the issues. So I think you ought to be commended for the amount of effort that you put into it, and certainly we appreciate that. So I really haven't raised that many, so I think probably, Colin, you can just summarise briefly what we've found.
Yes, it's okay, I can probably... Everyone can hear okay. Yes, could I also...
I think you need to use it for the...
Yeah, it would be better.
Yeah. Oh, right, I'm sorry.
And then for me, I'm going to try something.
Could I also thank everyone for their hospitality, and I'm most impressed by the dedication, the enthusiasm, and also the expertise of staff. So thank you very much. In terms of the whole system, I think we could probably call it the laboratory information management system that you have is absolutely superb. And in fact, I wish we had a simpler system in my own organisation. In terms of what I've looked at, I've looked at many of the, well, some of the operating procedures within in vitro propagation, and I've also looked at inspection of host plants. This is for sweet potato, potatoes. I've also looked at leaf sampling of plants for ELISA and the ELISA procedure. I've looked at some of the MASH methodology, and also I've had a look at NCM, ELISA. And we've also discussed validation. Now, it's actually quite nice to be able to actually probably conclude what the results of my investigations, because they were all fairly minor issues. They're mainly concerned with detail in the SOP, so some of the SOP they could be in greater detail, and also some of the SOPs or operating procedures. The operating procedures could sometimes they don't reflect practice, so they're very minor things, so and I think quite easy to address. So all I can say is thank you very much for the experience. I've been wanting to get to sit for quite a long time, so it's actually very nice to be here at last. Thank you.
Okay, shall I just... Okay, so we will be giving an assessment report. The issues that we've raised we've also produced, and they will be given to David, and he'll obviously distribute them to the relevant people. I think certainly everybody was made aware at the time of what the improvement actions were, and we've agreed those corrective actions as we've gone along. So we don't intend to go through all of those now, because obviously that would take some time, and the people involved are clearly know what needs to be done. So you will get a copy of those when we leave. Just to explain the report itself, the first page is just a summary of who you are, SIP, the organisation, and this also just tells you the number of mandatory findings and the number of recommendations that we've made, and how we've... The second page tells you what area of the standard 17025 that we've actually looked at during the initial assessment process. So the cross just indicates the areas of the standard that we've looked at. Because it's an initial assessment, we will have looked at all of the areas of the standard, but not necessarily in huge depth of detail, but that's part of the process. We need to actually look at all of the areas. And then we come to what we call the executive summary, which is a very grand title, but it's just giving a summary of the overall things that we found during the course of these 2 days. So I'll leave it up there for you to sort of read it, but basically as an organisation you've demonstrated good compliance with the requirements of 17025, and certainly all of the people that we've interviewed and witnessed during the procedures have been very enthusiastic and knowledgeable and competent in the procedures we've looked at. And then there's a little bit about the quality system, obviously being web-based. As I said, we're very impressed with that, and it's also made it quite useful from my point of view, because I've been able to look at the system remotely, which has been very valuable. There's also a bit on the data capture that you're using for